Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Depending on from where you have joined, welcome to today's webinar by Data Platform Geeks. My name is Rohit, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Our today's session is on Delete versus Truncate, its myths and misconceptions. And our today's speaker is Satya Ramesh, who works as a senior consultant at SQL Maestros. And helping us with the moderation and the smooth running of today's webinar will be Arti Nambiar. Quickly moving along a few slides. A lot of you already know about eDominer Systems and its popular brands. We have the Data Platform Geeks community and the SQL Server Geeks community that is supported by eDominer. And under Data Platform Geeks, we do our annual summit every year. In fact, we executed the fifth year of Data Platform Summit in the month of August, and it's a huge success. We also have SQL Maestros and its various learning solutions. We have the master classes, the learning kits, and the popular video courses that are going to come out by Amit Bansal and Satya Ramesh. We also have hands-on labs. We have Peopleware India, where we offer a lot of corporate training, and of course our very own ERP product, that is Expand SM ERP. So on your screen, you can see the group picture of this year's Data Platform Summit 2019. It was a huge success. We had more than 900 people participating in the summit from over 300 companies in 20 plus countries. Yes, that's massive. In fact, the corporate vice president of the Azure Data Group, Gail Shepard, was the main keynote speaker. She came along with her Redmond teams. We had Anand Raman, and we also had the National Technology Officer, Rohini Srivastava, and along with a lot of Microsoft product makers from 10 plus countries. So if you wish to learn more, my colleague Arti will be putting up the links to the success blogs and the success posts that we put. You can go ahead and look at the summits. And you can also browse us at dps10.com or contact us directly at contact@dps10.com. And the number is also given for your reference. One of the main reasons why DPS is so popular is because there is 100% learning and 0% marketing. So when you are at DPS, you will only, at every corner of DPS, you will only see learning and networking with these international experts and subject matter experts. So do not forget to have a look at that. And if you wish to track us on social media, you can always use #DPS10. So a little more about DPG and its core team. Our founder and president, Mr. Amit Bansal. We have Manohar Puna, who is the vice president, Avanish Panchal, Vijay Mishra, Vijay Reddy, Sandeep Pani, Prince Rastogi, Surbi Agarwal, Sakaram Shinde, and Devdatta Nath, who all support us in all our community initiatives and executing the events from all over India. So, and if you wish to be part of Data Platform Geeks or become a regional mentor, you can always do that. Aarti will be putting down the link in the chat window, so you can browse that link and understand more. These are the eDominer teams across India, that is Kolkata and Bangalore, that help us organize these events and the summit as well. This was earlier in the summit in the month of August. You can see the eDominer teams and the DPG teams on the stage. Special thanks to Microsoft for supporting us in our community initiatives. Without them, obviously, this wouldn't have been possible. So everyone who's joined us today, you are all part of Data Platform Geeks. And of course, a lot of you may not be aware, there are a host of learning resources which you can access for free. There are hands-on lab demos that you can access for free, and a lot of other stuff, previous videos and resources, etc. So do not forget to browse. And of course, we are coming with a new meetup model where we can with your help, we can organize meetups in your very own organization. So you can again check out the regional mentor form for that. And Aarti will be putting down the links again. So if you have any questions beyond the webinar, you can always reach us on the Facebook groups, the LinkedIn groups, and on Telegram. We have a group on Telegram. So you can always join there and ask questions and answer questions of the community. And all our DPG webinars are recorded, so you can find them on our official YouTube channel, that is /SQL Server Geeks. And even this webinar will be recorded and posted there. And a lot of other SQL videos are posted on #SQL Maestros. And of course, you can again follow us on Telegram. So without any further delay, let's get started with the webinar. And please, if you have any questions, please do post it in the Q&A panel and not in the chat window, because the speaker will be using the Q&A panel to answer questions. Thank you so much, and over to you, Satya.
Yes, thank you, Rohit. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. Rohit, just stop sharing your screen. I'll share my screen. Hello everyone. I hope everyone can see the screen and hear my voice. So please put up yes in chat window if you can see my screen and hear me as well. Please put up your response in chat window. Yes, thank you. It looks like everyone can hear me and see the screen as well. Yeah, good. So welcome all. And after a short break, we again started our webinars, and today is our first webinar in the month of October, and we have a series of webinars coming up in this month as well. So today we are going to discuss about delete versus truncate in SQL Server. So even though these two commands are very basic in SQL Server, still there are a lot of myths and misconceptions are floating around in internet. So we just thought of debunking all these myths. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we generally do is that we have a suggest topic section under Data Platform Geek. So if you want us to conduct any webinar regarding any particular topic that you want to learn, so you can go ahead and suggest the topic. So delete versus truncate, even though this was the basic one, this was suggested from so many people using that form. So that's where we decided to go ahead and do a webinar around this particular topic. So even though these two commands are like basic commands, so one is DML command and one is DDL command, and there are both are used for the purpose of removing data. One is faster and one is slower if you want to remove everything from from the table. So that's where there are a lot of misconceptions comes into the picture. So if you see the next slide, so truncate cannot be rolled back and truncate will not log anything. These are the biggest myths that are floating around internet. So first one is truncate cannot be rolled back and truncate will not log anything. These are the two biggest myths that we are going to debunk today. So why in the first place these kind of myths float around? Just because if you're deleting the data from very huge tables, like kind of a table with millions of records. So if you delete from the data from the table, it takes a lot of time. And if you do the truncate from the table, which is having the same amount of data, then it removes very fast. So then comes the picture. So then people believes that, okay, if I do the truncate, the data is getting deleted very fast, and if I do the delete, data is getting deleted very slow. So there must be something behind the scenes that, and people think that there is something to do with the log. So just because truncate is very faster, and people tends to believe that truncate is not logging anything. That's where these myths come from. And just because truncate doesn't log anything, it cannot be rolled back. So these are the two biggest myths comes from this kind of perspective. So just because we are deleting data from very huge tables, and when you use truncate, it happens in a blink of an eye. So today we are going to discuss more on that. So before dive into them, just wanted to give a brief introduction about ACID properties in SQL Server. So you know this thing, right? Any database, in order to call itself as relational database management system, it has to follow these four properties that are called ACID properties: atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So atomicity is doesn't means that a transaction must be an atomic unit of work in nature. That means it has to do everything or don't do anything. So consistency means while transaction should not leave the database in inconsistent state. That means that if in any case, if a transaction failed and it has to roll back, it has to take the database to the previous state, and that state should be very consistent. That means that uh, it should not leave any records or should not add any records, that kind of stuff. So, and the third one is isolation. That means uh, a transaction should see the data only before or after the concurrent transaction get completed. So one transaction cannot see the data while other transaction is in process. And the fourth one is durability. All the transactions should be persisted despite system failure. That means, so whenever few transactions are going on and sudden system failure happened and system goes down, and then you have done something and the system is up again and everything should be okay. That's what the durability means. So out of these four properties, I just wanted to concentrate on second one and the fourth one right now, which is consistency and durability. So to maintain consistency, that means a transaction started and something goes wrong and it has to roll back. In order to roll back, it has to store all the information that it is doing. So SQL Server will store all the data inside a log file that is called LDF file. We all know that. And to maintain the durability also, we need to store all the data. And SQL Server writes everything into the log. So in case of recovery, SQL Server go and read the log and recover the database. So these two are the main important things for any relational database system in order for itself to call as a relational database management system. So consistency and durability. If you look into these things, to maintain consistency and to maintain durability, we need to write log. So if you now take this delete and truncate in the picture, if you want to maintain the consistency and if you want to maintain the durability even after truncation occurs, so you need to write the log. So that proves the point that SQL Server needs to write log in order to maintain consistency and in order to achieve the durability. So SQL Server has to write everything into the log, be it minimal, be it full, be it bulk, that is different, but SQL Server has to write something into the log in order to maintain its consistency and durability. Hope these 2 points are clear. Please put up S in chat window if you are clear. Yeah, it looks like pretty clear. There are a few questions. So if you have any question, please put your questions in Q&A panel so that during the at the end of the webinar we can discuss one after the other in a sequence. So yes, looks like it's clear for most of us, most of you. Consistency and durability has to be maintained. So SQL Server has to write log. That's the conclusion of what we have discussed till now. And how SQL Server generally perform any operation. If you see, we have disk. So all our data is stored in disk, right? And in disk, what do we have? We have master data files and we have log data files. So we have data files and we have log files. So whenever a transaction comes into the picture, and for example, in this particular example, it's update statement, or else consider that it's a delete statement or truncate statement or select statement or whatever statement inside SQL Server, be it DML operation or DDL operation, it's a transaction for SQL Server. Whenever SQL Server is performing transaction, the SQL Server try to see all the pages related to this particular transaction or exist in memory or not. If all the pages that are available in memory, then it's good, or else SQL Server will go into the disk and fetch those needed pages and put it into memory. Once everything is in memory, perform the operation that you're going to perform, be it delete, be it truncate, be it update, or whatever the DML and DDL operation. So once all the pages that this particular transaction is going to deal are available in memory, then SQL Server will going to do the operation. And once the operation is done, write all the changes into the log file. So there may be some pages which are modified in memory and but not written to the disk. Those are called dirty pages. Those will get cleared after some manual checkpoint or lazy writer process. sorry. So this is how SQL Server works. Once everything is written into the log, then that particular transaction will get committed. So till the time everything is not there in the log, the transaction is not getting will not get committed. So in this particular, I just put commit. It can be rollback also. So if in case it is rollback operation, SQL Server has everything written in log. So using those log records, SQL Server can roll back to the previous state. So this is the basic idea how SQL Server works with every transaction. So I hope this basic concept also clear. Then we can move into the demos. Please put up your response in chat window if it is clear or not. Yes, looks like it's all clear. So let's go ahead and dive into demos. And in the demos, we'll just see the basic differences how Truncate can be rolled back and how Truncate can be rolled back using how Truncate logs happens and what is deferred drop task that happens behind the scenes when you truncate the data, and few examples related to it. And one more example, how to recover data in case of accidental deletes or accidental truncate happens by using backup mechanism. These are the two things that we do, and we'll close for the day. So let me go back to my VM. I hope everyone can see the VM. Please respond in chat window if you can see the VM. Yes, I think people can see this. Yes, let's go ahead and do. So for this demo, I'm using AdventureWorks database. And in the AdventureWorks database, I'll just go ahead and create a small table called truncate log. So let's go ahead and create this particular table. Yes, this table got created. And let's go ahead and insert some 100 records into this particular table. And we have some, sorry. So if you go ahead and see, to store these 100 records, SQL Server needs one page. So all these 100 records can fit into, SQL Server can fit into one page. So this is 22144 is the page that SQL Server use. Let me open a notepad and store this page number once. So I'm storing this page number. The page number is 22144. So let's go ahead and truncate the table. So before truncating the table, I'm executing a checkpoint so that all the log will get cleared for about this transaction before this transaction, and then we'll get the clean number of log records that are generated by truncate table operation that we are doing now. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm beginning the transaction and truncating the data. After truncating the data using fn_dblog function, which is undocumented, but still we can use it for the purpose of demo. fn_dblog will give you, will read the log information for this particular database here. So let's execute this. And if you see this, there are records. And if you see the fourth record, let me do this. And if you see these records, so here deallocation has started. Instead of removing all the records record by record, SQL Server is deallocating the pages itself. So if you see, it starts with PFS page. So that PFS page will get deallocated. So that's why the truncate operation is very faster. So this page reallocation information is logged, and you can see that in the log. That's why if you want to roll back this transaction, SQL Server can able to roll back. And before doing that, the transaction has begun, but the transaction has not committed or rolled back. So let's go ahead and see what are all logs that are there in this particular database right now. If you go ahead and see in this particular extent, if you see 22144, the same extent that our data is created, if you see that I have stored in Notepad, right? So that extent is logged in exclusive mode because we asked to delete the data. So until unless we commit or roll back, this particular allocation units will not get allocated to any other transaction, any other table or whatever the data which is asking to store. It is available, and only if you commit, sorry, only if you commit the data, the allocation pages will going to get removed. Till the time they are logged in exclusive mode, no one can able to use them, and the data is still there. So instead of committing the data, if you roll back, instead of committing the transaction, if you roll back, and if you go ahead and see count how many number of rows in the table, and you can see total 100 records are existed. So that means what? Truncate has logged enough information for SQL Server to roll back the transaction. That means we have debunked the myth number one. The myth number one is Truncate cannot be rolled back. But now, just now, in front of our own eyes, that we have rolled back the transaction which has truncated the data, and the transaction has rolled back, and we have got the truncated records back. So now, after truncating the data, after rolling back the transaction, if you go ahead and execute this particular, if you go and check what are the logs acquired on this particular table, you can see there are no logs, and we can roll back the data itself. And if you see the same thing, with the delete, and I'll execute the same thing with the delete, and you can see there are 100 records. There will be 100 records. If you see LOP delete rows, one for each row will get logged in delete operation. In truncate operation, reallocation happened. Only page reallocation happened. That was the only thing got logged. But in delete operation, reallocation also logged, and individual record deletion also logged. That's why delete is going to take more time when you compare to truncate. So, and if you roll back the truncate operation, delete operation, it can also be rolled back. It's as simple as that. And if you see the records, you can see all 100 records there in the transaction. So that means the point number one is both delete and truncate can be rolled back. So point number one, the myth number one is that truncate cannot be rolled back and delete can be rolled back. And now we have proved that both truncate and delete can be rolled back inside a transaction. I hope this small demo is helpful. Please put up your responses in chat window if you can able to understand this. Yeah, looks like it's clear for most of you. And if you want to do a small trial, and I'll just give you a small script here. So you just go ahead and create a database called truncate test, or just kind of a test purpose, and then you just create a table with two columns, one with identity integer and another one with character 8000. So if you observe the table carefully, each record that you're going to insert into this particular table will occupy one page. So if you insert 1000 records, it needs 1000 pages to store the data. If you insert 20,000 records, it needs 20,000 pages to store the data. So let me go ahead and create this particular table. So this table is created, and let's go ahead and insert 20,000 rows into it. So inserting 20,000 rows is going to take a little more time. It will complete less than 15 seconds. What's going to take more time? Looks like. So I just used insert into default values because integer column has identity. It will insert incremental value, and we have a default constraint on the second column. So this will also get inserted. Looks like it's going to take a more than 1 minute already. Let's stop this and let's go ahead and see how many. Yes, batch execution completed. Let's go ahead and see how many records are there in the table. So all 20,000 rows are inserted actually. So if you can see here, you can observe we have all 20,000 rows got inserted. So that means we have 20,000 pages that are used by SQL Server to store these 20,000 records. I think you know the basic unit, the basic storage unit inside SQL Server is called as page, and each page is 8 KB in size. So if you insert one record, it's going to occupy 8 KB. So that if you insert 20,000 records, you need 20,000 pages to store that data. So I have inserted 20,000 records into the table, and uh, just see how many records are there in the log. There are some records, so I'll just do the checkpoint process so that there will be very minimal, like 3 or 4 log records will be available. Let's go ahead and see the number of log records in the. So there are 3. That's fine. So now if you go ahead and truncate the table that has 20,000 records in our, let's consider this particular table as a huge table, 20,000 records. It's not really huge, but just consider this is a very huge table, and let's go ahead and truncate the table. And this particular truncate happens in a blink of an eye, and let's go ahead and look into the count of log records that it has generated. Sorry, something is going wrong here. Yes, all logs are released. So if you see, initially, let me do this with less number of records now. I'll just go ahead and create the table. And let me insert some 10,000 instead of 20,000. So let it run. I think it will complete very fast. Hope you can follow. You can able to follow the demo. Please put up your response in chat window if you can able to follow the demo. And you can. Someone is saying my voice is breaking. Can you hear me properly? Yes, thank you. Yes, I think records got completed. Now let's do the checkpoint again, so that there will be very minimal records. I think there will be only 3 records now. Yes. And now let's go ahead and truncate the table. So if you truncate the table, and if you immediately come back and check the number of records in the count, there are 3,806. So you need to do it very fast. So what will happen? Even though you have inserted 10,000 rows and deleted 10,000 rows, that I mean truncated 10,000 rows, the log is not about 10,000 rows here. If it is a delete, the number of log records also will be more than 10,000. But you can see that only 3,806 records are there in the truncate. So what happens behind the scenes when you perform the truncate operation? So if you see, whenever you have a very huge table and click on a truncate, it will happen very fast. So SQL Server use this mechanism called deferred drop mechanism. So it will just deallocate the pages. It will just deallocate the pages and related extents, and then move all the pages into a deferred drop queue, which is a background process. So that background process is a lock-free process, which will happen in its own time. So sometimes you may see whenever you truncated the data, log won't be very high, and after some time you can see log is growing, because immediately after the truncate, this deferred drop queue will stack all the pages that are going to be deleted. So after some time, these pages will get actually deleted and all the pages will get logged. So sometimes if you execute the same demo in your premises, you will see very less number of log records. That means sometimes you see 30, sorry, sometimes you see 30, sometimes you see 40. And after some time you execute the same fn underscore db log function, the same query, you will see some 3000, 4000. And you will never see more than 10,000, because uh, when you do the truncate, SQL Server even more efficiently log the data. Instead of logging each and every page delete, SQL Server will log PFS page delete. There are so many types of pages available inside SQL Server. PFS is one such page, that is called page free space, and it will log records about 8 sequential pages. So instead of logging 8 records, it will only log 1 record. So this is even more efficient logging mechanism. That's why Truncate is even more faster and writes less log. And in case of rollback, it has to read less number of records. So rollback is also very faster when you compare with delete. I hope this particular demo is also very useful. Please put up your response in chat window if you can able to understand this. And finally, we'll finish off with one small demo where most of the developers do this by mistake, deleting the data or truncating the data by mistake. So how having efficient backup strategy and efficient good backups uh, will help you in that particular situations. So let's go ahead and create a database called truncate versus delete again. So it's already there, fine. And let's go ahead and let me drop it once. Yeah, it's got dropped, and I've created it again. And let's go ahead and create two tables. One is delete test and other one is truncate test. And both the table structure is exactly same. And only difference is that in delete test table, I'm inserting operation delete, and in truncate test table, I'm inserting operation truncate, just to identify what's going on. And someone is asking question in chat window. Please put up your question in Q&A panel so that we can go through all the questions at the end of the session. So let me go ahead and create these two tables in this particular database. These two tables are created. And if you observe, before inserting any data, I'm just go ahead and taking a full backup. And if you observe, I just created a database and it has two tables, and those two tables do not have any data inside it. I'm just taking a full backup now, and I have my full backup available. And after that, I'm going to insert 5 records in each table. Delete test, insert 5 records into delete test, and insert 5 records into truncate test. So let's go ahead and insert those records into this table. And just go ahead and see what's there in this. So if you see, in delete test we have 5 records, and in a truncate test table we have 5 records. And let's go ahead and delete some records from delete test table. That means like id less than 3. That means like if you say this, id less than or equal to 3, so all these 3 records will get deleted. And from the second table we are truncating, so everything will get deleted. So let's go ahead and say this. I've done that, and see the state of the table right now. If you see, we have only 2 records in delete test table and no records in truncate test table. And we have just performed delete and truncate operation together. And let's go ahead and see what's there in the log, and which is having delete and truncate table in the transaction name. If you see, these are the two transactions that have started just now. If you see the timing, is the 3rd October 2019 and just 3:39 p.m. in India. So these two operations I have performed just now. So I just wanted to copy these two LSN numbers. So this is the LSN number, log sequence number, when this delete operation started, and this is the log sequence number when this truncate operation started. I'll just copy these two, and then I'll store these two in a notepad. So first one is a delete operation, and second one is a truncate operation. So immediately after delete and truncate happens in your environment, and you know that what you have to do is that just take a log backup immediately. So if you take log backup immediately after doing this delete and truncate operation, you have stored all the records in the log file. So, and this log, if you want to take a log backup, you already need to have a full backup. That's why you need to maintain this backup mechanism. I already taken a full backup, so that's why I can able to take log backup right now. And your database should not be in simple recovery model. In simple recovery model, you cannot take log database backup. So if you do not want to lose data, do not want to risk with your databases, so make sure you run your SQL Server in full recovery model. If you run in simple recovery model, you cannot able to take log backups. That means in this kind of situations where accidental deletes and truncates happens, you cannot able to recover your data using backup mechanism. So I have taken a log backup. Now comes to the restore. So if you want to restore, I just need to restore the full backup first. So I'm doing that. I'm doing it as a new copy. I'm doing the full backup full restore. So once I do the full restore, I'm adding my log data to this full backup. While doing that, I'm using this particular keyword called stop before mark, and I need to provide a log sequence number. So stop before this log sequence number. So we have noted down two log sequence numbers. One is at the start of delete and one is at the start of truncate. So these are the two log sequence numbers. So what we are doing is that assume this thing. So before this log sequence number, there is no delete operation. Before this log sequence number, there is no delete operation. Before this log sequence number, there is no truncate operation. So if you are restoring the log file before this log sequence number, SQL Server, we are telling SQL Server that start appending the data from the log file, and when you see this particular log sequence number, stop that. That means after this, the data is going to get deleted. So if you stop here now, the data will be with you. If you continue further, the data will get deleted. It's kind of a time machine. We are going back into the log file and we are stopping at this particular log sequence number. So that means delete never happened. So that is a hexadecimal number. So we just need to convert this hexadecimal number into a decimal number. So let me do that. And a later point of time, I'll record a video. I have learned a technique from internet how to convert this hexadecimal number into a decimal number. And this will be 512. And this will be 36. 36. So this is the decimal number for the hexadecimal number of the previous one. I'll record a separate video how to convert very quickly. So I'll just put this one. I'll just replace the decimal number that I have acquired right now with this one. Okay, so this is the log sequence number that we have converted into decimal right now. And now I'll add this restore. So let's execute this. So this is also successful. Now we have executed we have restored full backup and we have restored log backup. Now let's go ahead and see, execute this query, and you see what? You have all the deleted records back. You have got all the deleted records back just because using the backup, you have gone to the place where delete event started. You have gone to a point where delete event started. So delete didn't even start there. So that's why you have all the records available. So you do the same thing for truncate as well. So you have the log sequence number for truncate also. This is the log sequence number for truncate. So this is 208. I think 208 plus 8 will be 512 plus 8 is 520. So you take the same number and change the 512 to the 520. Then you'll get the decimal number for this as well. So you take this one, and I'm dropping the database right now. The one we have just restored, just to do it again from the beginning. And I'm restoring the database backup again. I'm restoring the database from the backup file again, and I'm adding log file to it. And before adding log file, I'll just change the log sequence number as we have done previous step. So if I do that and I execute this query, and the query got executed successfully, and let's go ahead and see this particular thing. And we have got the truncated data also back. So this table got truncated earlier. Now we have got the truncated data also back. So using effective database backup mechanism and using few techniques like this, even we can get back the truncated data. That means what? Truncate also can be rolled back. Delete also can be rolled back using certain techniques, because everything is getting logged. And if I am using that logged information and using this backup restore technique to get the data back. So all the myths that we are learning online, or we are thinking about, truncate cannot be rolled back, delete only can be rolled back, or truncate does not write like any log, we have debunked everything in this particular session. Truncate also can be rolled back, delete also can be rolled back, truncate also writing some log, and delete also writing some log. And I hope this particular demo is also very clear. Please put up your response in chat window if you can able to follow this demo. Yes, looks like demo is clear. And let me go back to the slides again to quickly summarize what we have learned till now. And these are the basic differences that are floating online. So you can also see these particular differences. I just put up very few differences which are very relevant and useful. And I have covered this in developers perspective. That's why I've doesn't consider this replication, etc. here. So what happens when you enable replication, that deleted data will get replicated or not, those things we are not discussing right now. We are just concentrating more on developers perspective. So the main definition is that delete removes one or more rows from a SQL server, or a SQL server table, or a view in SQL server. And truncate deletes everything together, and it doesn't allow where condition. So why in the first place SQL server team doesn't allow where condition in truncate? Anyone please put up your response in chat window. Why does SQL server team doesn't allow us to put a where condition for truncate operation? So the basic idea is that if you put whenever you need to use where condition, that means SQL Server has to scan all those particular rows. So if the where condition is very big, then SQL Server may need to scan all the rows. So whenever you want to perform truncate operation, if it all SQL Server has to scan all the rows, that means you are essentially doing a row by row scan. That is what delete is exactly doing. So truncate is designed for a specific purpose where you want to delete all the data very faster way. So that's where truncate doesn't allow where condition. So it makes sense, right? If at all you want to delete a row by row, or else like a condition based delete, you already have a delete operation, and that is designed for that. And if at all you want to delete all the data in the table together at the same time, then you can go with truncate. That's where in the first place SQL Server team doesn't allow us to put a where condition to a truncate table. So that's where if you see in the important notes, the last point is where condition, yes for delete and no for truncate. That is the reason. And if you see uh, classification, it's a classification is DML command, and classification of truncate is DDL command. So both the delete and truncate will actually delete the data, right? But why delete is called as DML command and why truncate is called as DDL command? If you observe, whenever there is an identity property on a table, and if you perform delete operation, the identity property will not get reset. So if you perform a truncate operation, the identity property will get reset. So the identity property you are defining on a table at table definition level. That means truncate is resetting a table definition property. That's why it is called as a DDL command, data definition language command. And delete is not affecting any table level definition. That's why it's called as DML command. So that's the basic difference whenever we see why truncate is called as DDL command and why delete is called as DML command, even though both are removing the data from the same table. Because truncate also affecting a table level properties, table definition. So that's why it's called as data definition language. And moreover, this very famous thing, whenever you execute or whenever you perform delete operation, if at all there are after delete triggers are there, then they'll get executed. And truncate, we don't have anything as such. And this thing is very important, this foreign key constraint thing. Delete will work in the with the tables that are having foreign keys by using this option called delete with cascade, but truncate will not work with that. So why? Because truncate is going to delete all the records. So assume this particular scenario, if you're okay with this or not, you have a customer, who had done so much of purchase from so many years. He has done so many purchases, and you have so many orders there in your orders table, and you want to delete that customer and assume that there is a primary key foreign key relationship between customer table and orders table, and you want to remove the customer, and you want to remove the customer, but you don't want to remove the order history because that helps us maintaining your sales history, right? So you don't want to remove the orders history, but you want to because of some reason you want to remove that customer. If you press delete in this one, generally it won't delete, but if you delete with cascade is enabled, then all the records of the orders also will get deleted, right? If you can understand this carefully, if you remove that customer, all the orders that were placed by that particular customer will also get removed from orders table. So it's not making sense sometimes. It does make sense sometimes if the requirement matches, but generally this kind of a behavior is not good. And assume that the same thing is happening with truncate. If you delete all the customers, all the orders are gone. So why are you doing the business itself, right? So that's why truncate is not allowed when the foreign keys are enabled. So these are the thought processes behind the SQL Server teams when they're designing these certain features for delete and truncate. So I hope these particular points are also very clear. If you have any questions, please, uh, if you understand this thing, please put up your response in chat window. Yes, looks like most of you have understood. So that's all about delete and truncate. Before I take Q&A, Rohit has few slides. So after that, we'll get back to this Q&A again. Rohit, over to you. Yes, while Rohit is carrying on with his sessions, you can put up your questions in Q&A panel. After his slides are done, then I'll go through all the questions and we can answer all the questions.
Thank you so much, Satya, for an insightful session. Hope it was worth everyone's time and your time as well. So I just have a quick couple of slides. A lot of you uh, have had questions. So if you have any questions beyond the webinar and if you would like to connect with the speaker, you can join the largest SQL group on Facebook, that is /groups and /the SQL Geeks. Aarti will be putting down the links again for you, and our LinkedIn group again, and on Telegram as well. So some of you have asked on the chat window during the webinar about DPS that was executed earlier this year. So yes, like I mentioned earlier, it was a 3-day conference from August 22nd to 24th, and we had 16 pre-cons from 19th to 21st delivered by international and Microsoft experts. And there were 7 different tracks, and more than 100 plus sessions were delivered across 3 days by 50 plus international speakers. So, and yes, like you've asked, DPS 2020 is on the cards, and we are yet to plan. And yes, the work for that is going on in full swing. So again, dps10.com is the official website. You can check out that space for any updates, any further updates. Do not forget to check out the LinkedIn article that we've posted regarding DPS 2019. It talks about the participation that has come and the feedback that we've received for the conference. So the video courses, a lot of you have been inquiring about this as well. We will have 2 video courses releasing in a few months' time. One of them is by the master himself, Amit Bansal, SQL Server Performance Tuning video course. There will be more than 100 plus hours of pure learning and advanced and deep dive topics. You can watch it from watch it anytime, anywhere, and as many times as you want after you subscribe for the video course. We have already received a lot of subscribers even before the video course has been published online. But yes, and then we also have T-SQL querying and programming by Satya Ramesh, who is our today's speaker. Even that will be coming up in a couple of months. So the Bitly links are there for you. This Aarti will be putting it down in the chat window. Do not forget to check them out. And if you have any more queries, you can write to contact@sqlmaestros.com, and sqlmaestros.com is our official website. So hands-on labs, I was talking about hands-on labs earlier. These are unique way of learning, self-paced learning. We have more than 100 labs, 100 plus labs hosted on SQL Maestros, on SQL Server, Azure, Power BI, Cosmos DB, Analytics, etc. So go ahead, since you're all DPG members, you will get access to some of the free demos, and then you can later decide if that's for you, and you can subscribe. So we already have 1,900 subscribers, and again, the link will be put down by RC. So upcoming events and free webinars, we have 2 in-person events coming up. One of them is coming up this week, this Saturday. So if you're in Bangalore, do not forget to visit us at Microsoft office in Bellandur. It will be a half-day session, and we'll have sessions on data science and SQL Server, and it's absolutely free for you to join. And then we'll have one on Hyderabad in Hyderabad on October 19th. And then we have a couple of webinars lined up by Amit Bansal, Manohar Puna, who's an MVP, and Sandeep Pani as well. So you know where to go to register for them. dataplatformgeeks.com/events is the website. So with that, I'm done with my slides too. So thanks a lot once again for joining us, and thank you, Satya, for delivering a wonderful webinar again.